Thank you. All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley. Councilmember Stafford.
Here.
Councilmember Safranek.
Here.
Councilmember Owens.
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the meeting with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 25th, 2026 town board meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek.
Aye.
Councilmember Owens.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So before we get to the public hearings, we're going to do a recognition resolution regarding an individual who will be turning 100 in Henrietta.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-117, 2026. Whereas Miss Laura Vivian Fancher, a resident of Henrietta, was born on March 22nd, 1926 in the town of Houghton, New York, where Fancher Hall at Houghton College is named in honor of the Fancher family who had served over 200 years at the college. And whereas during her life, Miss Laura served as a missionary and camp nurse, did secretary work at Houghton College, began part-time nursing at Highland Hospital, taught at missionary and Bible camps before starting full-time as a nurse at Highland Hospital in 1962, where she worked until retirement in 1988. And whereas Miss Laura survived a bout of cancer in 1988 and never let it slow her down, traveling to visit friends and family, continuing her support of missionary and other religious efforts, and volunteering for Highland Hospital, where she continues as a member of a knitting group that knits caps for newborns and infants in the hospital. And whereas Miss Laura is turning 100 years old on March 22nd, 2026, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board wishes to join the Episcopal Senior Life Rockwood Center, where Miss Laura has lived for the past 13 years, in celebrating Miss Laura Vivian Fancher as a centenarian in the town of Henrietta.
Second.
So if you know Miss Laura, do us a favor, don't tell her because her friends want to surprise her, but we have to do stuff publicly. So hopefully she doesn't get on the website and check the minutes. Probably not a good bet, but so we'll be presenting this at her birthday party at the Episcopal Senior Life Center. So she's not our only centenarian. We've done one of these before, and we're actually going to do another one for someone who's turning 104. So we have a number of centenarians in Henrietta. So they must be doing something right. All right. Any further comments or questions? Hearing and see. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say congratulations. So this is the kind of thing that we love to do,
Yep.
And especially when it's such a full life like Miss Fancher lived.
Yeah, her friends supplied me, she actually wrote some stuff about the story of her life, so that's where I was able to pull the material for the resolution, so. All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So first up, we have a public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-002, Gotham Halal, 900 Jefferson Road, to operate a restaurant out of a 30-foot trailer. Do we have a representative from Gotham here? Come on up, introduce yourselves, tell us your relationship to the project.
Hello, my name is Rami Ali, and I'm the owner.
Hi, my name is Talha Shahid. I handle the real estate aspect for Gotham Halal. We also are joined by, we have some supporters here who have had our food in Greece. We also have the owner for the property, also the listing broker, Michael Smith. So we have all those folks here as well.
Great. So one of the questions that came up during workshop was whether you were, is the trailer going to be parked there and stay there the whole time, or will you occasionally leave the site to go to events and other stuff like that?
It will be stationary. And that's actually will be our second location. We have another location in Greece.
So it falls under the mobile food category. So if you want to, it can be moved at any time. But the whole point is that it stays there.
Okay.
And anything that needs to happen, cleaning. So it has a freshwater tank, it has a gray water tank. So all of that is disposed of every night. And then we have a commissary kitchen. So there we're also working on a permanent retail brick and mortar location in Greece. So that will become their main commissary kitchen once that's approved.
And then, so will this be open for people to just, if somebody wants to come in and eat, or is this more of commissary or catering type?
It will be people for sit down to take out. They could order online. We have an app. They have to just call or place an order online.
I just want to confirm it's not for sit down. It's only takeout only. So
Okay.
right now the hours in Greece are 4 p.m. to midnight. So as the person comes, they order online. Usually most of the orders are online or through the app. They come, pick up the food. Some people they eat it in the car, or some people they take it home, they eat it over there. So it's not sit down. It's just takeout only.
So you're not going to have any like picnic tables there?
No.
And it sounds like your hours of operation will lean more towards the dinner crowd, the evening hours, and not towards like the lunch time crew or anything like that.
Yes.
And that's your plan for Henrietta as well?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So I can say I visited your location in Greece on Friday night, 11 o'clock at night. Wasn't probably the nicest night. It was raining and cold and windy. So great burger, I will say.
Thank you.
And so if this gets approved, I'll probably be a customer. But anyways, with that,
We would love to have you.
with that being said, I can tell the board when I left, it was right about 11 o'clock. Being old school, I went up to the window and ordered, but you could order by the app or calling in. There was about a dozen cars in the gas station parking lot, so waiting for their food. So it had a good crowd. You have a good following. I know that.
Yeah, just to add to that, so yeah, they do have a very good following, primarily because of their customer service and the food. I mean, it's being called the best burger in Rochester.
Yes. So anyway, some of my concerns with the location are when I'm not a big fan of, of mobile trucks long before I was ever on the town board. I expressed my concern when the other town board approved the food trucks. I think it's kind of an unfair advantage or a disadvantage to the restaurants who have a brick and mortar store. So I'll start by saying that. The one thing I did notice about the gas station where it's located, it was well lit from the gas station. Over at this location, looking at the map, you're right near the lamppost, but I'm not sure if your landlord's gonna fix that light or not, but it's out at night. I know it's not
Uh,
working at night.
I think so. The owner is here with us.
Okay.
If you want to ask him any questions, he would love to answer.
That was one of my concerns. The other concern I have is I see that, and this would be for the owner of the property, not probably for you. There's overnight parking for tractor trailers there, I see. I don't know where they're gonna move them. And then the next question I had
Well, why
was,
don't you let him
oh,
address
sorry.
that?
Okay. The question for the trucks, I'm not 100% sure. The owner could give you actually a better answer.
Okay. And then the final concern I had was the parking lot itself. Is that gonna be repaved or is it gonna stay in the condition it is now? You know, it's not, believe me, there's a lot worse parking lots in Henrietta, without a doubt, but that is not, it might not be the perfect lot to have people walking around in the evening, so. So I don't know if the owner wants to make any comments.
Be sure to introduce yourself.
Happy to. Thank you. John August, one of the partners in Jefferson Associates. Just on a few of the things you said, that was a location right near a former CNB bank ATM that was occupied. We cut the power off. There's a conduit. They're going to use the power from that old kind of a kiosk, and it had a little concrete foundation to it. I assume that light could be activated. It's sitting right on that same concrete pad. I think when they run power out to their truck, they'll be able to light that light if they chose to, if it was required or desired. That's been an auxiliary parking area for us for 20, 30 years. We do lease about 25 parking spots. You'll see all those trailers that are lined up in a row. Anything that's in where this pad is going to be is illegally parked, and we'll make certain it's removed and kept out of there. No plans to pave anything. They thought it was pickup. It served as a older asphalt lot, but that was the plan they were submitting, was to use it as its existing condition.
Okay.
I assume if there's any potholes, though, you would fill those potholes.
Between us, if it was a requirement of the
Yeah.
tenant, they would be responsible to certainly keep it in whatever form the
Great.
town required.
I just wanted to clarify, you're not gonna have like a picnic table or anything like where people have to wait in their cars for the.
Yeah. People just they have an option to wait in the car. Actually, our food each order will probably like 10 minutes and less. And they could just order online and just come pick it up right away. Within seconds, they'll be at the parking lot.
Okay,
And most people, they order online, they wait in the car, and they have a system where once the order is ready, they get a text message. So they're not waiting like outside, so they can actually wait in the car. They get a text message, they come to the window, pick up the food.
And is this planned to be seasonal at all, or is this a year-round endeavor?
So hopefully it'll be a year round until we look for like a brick and mortar location.
mortar location.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Greece location that they have, they started that in December, the worst winters that Rochester has seen in the last 10 years. Even at that time, when people were lining up with all that snow. So it's not going to be seasonal. It's going to be year round until we find with Michael Smith. He's here. He's the broker. So we find a good spot to move into.
Great.
So, you say midnight is the closing time?
Yes.
Okay, have any issues at your location with any later night crowd?
Never.
Okay.
Never have that.
Yeah, in the current location, all the customers that come are very respectable. They've had no issues so far. No issues at all.
I will say the trailer itself, I just want to make it clear, the trailer itself was well lit.
Yep.
But the parking
Well, do
lot,
we want to add as a condition to make that light operate?
both those conditions, potholes and any potholes in it, and I'm not saying there's,
Right.
just to make
Yep.
it clear, if there is any,
So
they'll be filled, and the light closest,
Yeah. If there's anything that we'll fix it right away. That's not a problem.
In terms of hookups, it sounds like you will have electrical on site, and that you will have freshwater tanks and gray water tanks to supply the water to this trailer. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, the freshwater tank is on the trailer itself, and the gray water tank as well. And then, so it just needs to be filled with water every time once it's used, it gets used up, and it just needs to be filled up.
Okay, and what's the plan for?
So we're gonna work with the owner. So they have a garage right over there in the corner behind Jimmy John's. So they have a water hose over there that can be ran to fill up the water. So we'll work with them.
So is that water, is that potable water or is that just for washing up and cleaning and that
Just,
sort of thing?
just wash it up and clean it.
Okay. And what's the plan for disposal of things such as the gray water and the grease and all of that sort of thing?
So for the water, we have this tank that we hook up with the trailer. Then we take it with us on the other night to the commissary kitchen, and we just dispose over there. Similar to the oil, we have special containers that we put the old oil inside, and we take it out to the kitchen. We have a company that comes and take care of that.
Okay,
And for the garbage also, we have here the owner of Layali Coffee Shop.
yes.
That's is our neighbor. Also, we be sharing if there's any garbage with them. Something we will talk with them, and they very good friends and neighbors.
Okay, great. So you're thinking of using like the dumpster and things like
Yeah,
that?
just for boxes. Yeah, if it's necessary, we have a couple trucks, so we don't mind just taking this with us every night. But
Okay,
if it's necessary, we could use the one there.
great. And is there a plan for like bathrooms and break areas for staff that are working there?
Yeah, we just talked to the owner of Layali. Also, he will provide us with bathroom access for the bathroom. So this is not an issue because we're like a couple feet away from Layali Coffee Shop.
From that,
Yep.
area. Okay. Any other site changes that are planned for the area in terms of any gating, fencing, striping, anything to create any sort of barriers for people that are standing in line or waiting for their food or anything along those lines?
I don't think so, but if necessary, we could have lines and stripes if necessary.
Yeah, sometimes if you go to some places, if they have, those ropes that they have, we need to put those ropes. We want to have everyone have a good experience,
Yeah.
like VIP.
Just one thing I want to add, to be honest, the type of customers we attract, very high quality people, and very good. Since we opened the location in Greece until now, we have 5-star review. We never have any issue with anybody. Thanks God, and then everything has been running smoothly. Everybody's happy. We actually bring something great to the community, and I feel like I live also in Henrietta, and I applied last year also for a special permit for wild berries, and the members came for the grand opening and they taste the food, so they should be familiar with me and what we try to do here.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do think it might be a good idea to have some sort of roping or something along those lines. Mostly just for the area around the window to create just a little bit more space. I would say, most drivers, I'm sure, are going to be conscientious, but, occasionally you have people that want to drive right up.
Yeah, we will take care of this, and we will have a plan if it's necessary, and we will add more lightings and stuff like that, and also lines if needed for the cars also. And we will actually hire a person also to for a while just to organize all the cars and all the people. And after probably a month, 2 months, everybody will figure it out and it'll become easier.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that's all of my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm good. You asked my question, so I'm good.
One of the last concerns and more directed towards Steve, kind of, I don't want to see trailers parking up. This one is quite a ways in the back out of the, but I don't want to see food trailers on every street corner going forward. So that's one of my concerns is once we issue this permit, do we have to do others too? So it's,
No,
Each one comes before us.
each one comes
Right.
before us and
Okay.
you can take a look at, you just can't be arbitrary. But
right. But this-
I will note that one of the conditions on the, in fact, I'll read you the current conditions, and I'm currently creating the additional ones. The applicant keeps the food truck in safe operating condition, including from a health standpoint and a fire prevention standpoint, including keeping the trailer inspected through the Monroe County Health Department and through the Town of Henrietta Building and Fire Prevention Department. Failure to keep inspections and licenses current could result in the future revocation of this special use permit by the Henrietta Town Board. 2, that the operators of the food truck clean up after any patrons who purchase food or drink and eat on the premises or in their car and leave trash in the parking lot. Repeated failure to clean up litter from patrons could result in the future revocation of the special use permit by the Henrietta Town Board. So those are both pretty standard. I will note, Mike, that the license to operate, so there's 2 different approvals for food trucks. One is for a single event. That's usually like a school event or like our events. The other is this type of operation. That license is significantly higher because it goes back to address the thing that if you were a brick and mortar, you'd be paying property taxes on that structure, whereas because it's a mobile, you're not. So that essentially tries to offset that a little bit. So that's an annual fee. It's like $400, I think, if I remember correctly.
No problem.
So
Is that
But-
yearly or is that an annual?
that's
fee?
an annual fee, yeah. So,
I just.
yeah, that's what it tries to address. But, one of the things in terms of location, there's also in the code, there's restrictions about being too close to existing restaurants and things like that. And this particular location being inside the
Regional market.
regional market, this is an allowed use there, so. In a number of places, it's not an allowed use. Why don't I do this, while I'm still crafting that? I'm gonna have you two sit at this table in event that somebody else wants just to come up and ask any questions at the public
Thank you.
hearing. Yep. Is there anyone who wishes to talk or present anything with regards to this application? Guess it'll be pretty quick then.
Anyone online?
Yeah, is there anyone online?
I do have some hands raised online. I'm just gonna go, they came in around the same time, so I'm just gonna go in the order they are on my screen here. So first I have Daniel Florence.
Yes, my name is Daniel Florence. I'm a social media influencer for TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, I just wanted to speak about the contribution of this restaurant. I feel like it would be a great asset to the community. I usually travel over hours away just to come to this restaurant. And they also will give me food and things that I could bring to local schools and to the community to give back and to give like a fundraiser and a giveaway.
Great, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, next I have Nicole. Let me allow you to speak.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can.
Perfect. Hi, my name is Nicole Guerrero. I'm also a local content creator in the Rochester area. I just want to share my support for bringing Gotham Halal to Henrietta. I actually recently visited their Greece location. I overall had a really great positive experience. The food was fresh, service was quick and clean. The staff was very, very welcoming. I actually placed a large order and it came out really fast. And I also noticed the same for other customers as well. So it's clear that they have an efficient system in place that's working really well. It's the kind of place that it's easy to go back to, and it's definitely recommended to others. I also think that their stationary food truck concept is unique and it works really well. It's nice to see something like that being introduced to the Rochester area. I also appreciate their evening hours and the overall environment. It felt very safe, well organized, and comfortable. And after I shared my experience online, I saw a really good response from the community. A lot of people were excited. They were tagging friends and saying that they wanted to try, especially those that live closer to the Henrietta area. So I'm pretty sure that they would appreciate having a closer location nearby. And overall, they have my support, and I know the community also supports them as well. So I think it would be a great addition. There's clearly a demand for it, and I think that it would be very well supported. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your input. Any more? Are we all set?
I have one more hand that raised. Ooh, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
All right, so my name is Safi and I'm a lifelong Henrietta resident and I graduated from Henrietta High School in 2022 and I'm currently a student at Syracuse and I wanted to speak in support of Gotham Halal as well and their plan to opening another food truck trailer in Henrietta. I usually travel all the way to Greece, which is a little bit of a inconvenience for me, but on top of that, like from my personal experience, they've had the best customer service I've ever seen. I come from a pretty big family. There's 7 of us, and even on a busy day, they're able to prepare 10 burgers for us in about 20 minutes on a bad day. Like that level of efficiency, especially while maintaining that quality, really, really stood out to me. And I know after the closing of Smash Burger, that was so nice. I think their burgers honestly were better than Smash Burgers. And their food is always fresh. They always provide a welcoming environment for customers. And it's so clear how they take pride in not just their food and how they treat people, even when people complain on, let's say something does happen, they always solve it within minutes of them receiving it on their social media. I truly believe they would be such a great addition to the area, and I fully support their approval. So
Great. Thank you for your input.
thank you.
I'm going to read the,
Another question.
oh,
Same size trailer as what's in Greece, or bigger or smaller, or the same?
It's 30 feet trailer. The one we have in Greece is 20. It's 20 feet. Yeah.
Quite a bit bigger than the one you currently have.
Because from our study, we feel like the Henrietta will be a good size for it. The supply and command will be probably higher than Greece.
you can say it. Henrietta's better than Greece. It's okay.
Yeah, yes, we all.
There you go.
I just wanted to add the other reason why they're making it bigger is predominantly just for refrigeration, to add extra fridge and freezers, like
Right.
refrigeration space inside, because that becomes quite a challenge in a food trailer.
So,
How many employees do you have on site?
Yeah.
Right now we have around 7 people.
Wow.
We started with 2 people. Right now we started the first week with 2 people. Then the third week we have almost 6 people to 7.
At one time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, I mean not one time, but like different shifts. But
On different shifts?
No, in one time we have 4 people.
Okay,
Yeah,
All
each
right.
one of them is assigned to in one station.
great. Thank you.
so I will note, Mike, they did not check the box for late night operation.
Okay, so what, late nights after midnight? Or
I don't remember if it's yeah, but basically later. So
Because I'm not really thrilled, but would be thrilled about having a late night operation like that. So until midnight, if you said midnight, your hours.
We don't have very many
Yes.
casual places
Right.
that offer late night operation, and I would say that there are plenty of young people coming out from
Yeah.
RIT and MCC and
And
even the high school that are looking for food
yeah,
that's
11,
about
12 o'clock at night.
yes. I just want to add, like my wife, she used to go to RIT, also my brother-in-law, and I believe in here. I'm from Brooklyn. I moved here 3 years ago, so it's very challenging to find any restaurants after 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get really hungry and we love food, and I feel like the Henrietta deserve more options
right.
and for like restaurants and more hours until like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and people still up. Some people even from work, school, and
Right.
they keep studying and stuff like that. So we will see the hours to 12 a.m. If I don't know if you guys prove out maybe for more hours, we will see how the operation is. But we are happy with the hours we have for now. If necessary, we will inform you guys if there's any changes.
What we can do is we can vote on that amendment separately. So if you want to vote against it, you can. But
Well, he mentioned midnight. That's why I said midnight. So
I understand, but he also had said that, so like
Right,
I
I
said, if you want to have on the permit for late night operations. It doesn't mean you have to do it. It just means you would be allowed to do it if you wish.
Yes, that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to just get to the three, just to make sure I've captured them. So condition 3 would be that the light closest to the trailer operation be kept functioning and on at night. 4, any potholes that form in the parking lot are filled in a reasonable amount of time. 5, separation barriers of some sort be provided to protect those standing in line from vehicles approaching or traveling through the parking lot. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I just wanted some clarification about, like, is there a shift if they want more hours? They need to, is it another?
So again, typically if a place is open after midnight, so late night operations, there's a checkbox on the special use permit to allow that. If they don't have it checked now, they would have to come back and update their SUP if they ever wanted to stay open past
Okay.
midnight. I for one don't have an issue with them staying open later. I know Mike doesn't sound keen on that, but you know, with where it's located, there's not, I don't know of any neighbors that would be disturbed if there was traffic going on later at night. So
And to be honest, it makes sense, and it's very like easier, like from the other Greece location. The operation is very smooth. There's no any noise. Everybody just comes, they just orders in the car. It's very good for the environment. No one's actually been bothered by that.
We have a hand in the back.
come on up.
You got,
No,
Nope.
it's recorded. We can't, you have to be in the mic.
you got it in my.
Name and address.
My name is Mohammed, and I'm one of the owners of the Alley Coffee House in the state of
Great.
And I just want to, advocate for these guys. They're amazing concept, amazing burgers. I think also to comment on the late night vibe, I think it would be perfect addition to the plaza because Alley Coffee House, Alley actually it means Arabic, and in Arabic it means nights. So our whole concept is we're like a late night family vibe, and late at night, we have a lot of college students, we have a lot of families. So also, I think we would coalesce and work very nicely if they're all open late night.
And you said it's a coffee shop that you operate? Yeah,
The Leali's coffee shop there.
gotcha.
Mhm.
I don't drink coffee, so
Oh,
I would not be a
They've
patron.
got more than just coffee.
Okay.
They've got the best desserts around, so.
Do
They have a lot of really good stuff.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
input.
Yep.
Yep, go ahead.
I just wanted to advocate.
Could
real
you
quick.
introduce yourself?
Yes,
please?
my name is Taj Hussain. I went to RIT for 5 years. I wanted to include that I've had the honor and pleasure of working with the two owners, and I've seen the way that they run their business, the way that they interact with the customers, and I believe that it is a very strong way to uphold and uplift the values and the standards that we the people of Henrietta, hold for Henrietta.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I've got when we put forth the resolution, it will include those 3 additional conditions, and it will also include late night operation. Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to do late night operation from the start, but if you decide if there's a lot of demand, I don't know how late the coffee shop stays open, but the point is if there's a whole lot of people who say, hey, coffee shop's open till 2, you should keep serving food till 2, and you decide you want to do that, you would be able to, assuming the resolution passes. So
I just want to ask a question. So in order to do that, do they just come and inform the office, or what's the process?
you set your hours, you don't need to inform us.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Yeah, we don't put the hours about, there are some cases where we do, like if you're near a school and we don't want the business operating at the same time as the school, things like that, but
Or if
Again,
neighbors are concerned
or,
about.
right, if it's close to some of the restaurants are close to residential homes, so that's why we have those additional check boxes, like also is there going to be, outside entertainment, which again, you didn't check that box. That's why we have those there, because you want to encourage businesses to open, but you don't want them to open in a place where they're going to inconvenience or create problems for their neighbors, which again, that's not the case here, but that's why that's there. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any other questions or comments from the public? Then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-002 for Gotham Halal. So again, when we put the resolution forward, Christina, it'll be with these 3 additional conditions and the late night.
Oh, that's listed. So I
So,
should read them.
yeah, so you can just, you don't have to read them. I've read them aloud
Okay.
into the record, and I'm got them in an email going to our clerk, so they'll have them.
Okay.
But just making a note that otherwise you put the resolution forward, we would then make a motion to amend. It just saves time.
Okay.
Okay?
Should we do it now? Sorry.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-118, 2026 to approve special use permit application number 2026-002 for a permanent location for a food trailer operated by Gotham Halal at 900 Jefferson Road.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. When you're ready to open, if you want to do something like a ribbon cutting or something like that, send an email to me at supervisor@henrietta.org, and I'll get the Chamber of Commerce involved and we can do a ribbon cutting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to
And-
Henrietta.
And I will say you set the bar very high. Jerry, I assume you've got about the same number of people coming in talking about Raising Cane.
Thank you.
Although I suspect if you'd put the call out on social media, you'd have gotten a lot. There's a lot of people excited, including my son wanted to know why it wasn't open in time for spring break.
Yeah.
So with that said, next up, we have a public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-003 Millennium Games Waypoint, 1225 Jefferson Road, Suite A201 to sell food and alcohol. Please introduce yourself and your relationship to the project.
Hello, I'm Rob Harrington. I'm a co-owner.
I'm Jim Despa. I'm the store manager.
Great. Tell us a little about what you're looking to do.
Well, we're looking to open the Waypoint a couple doors down from our main retail location over in the Tops Plaza. It's going to function mostly as an event space for games that we sell, tournaments that we run, open play, and different events that we do. That's going to hold the same hours roughly as our main location. The truth is our game room at our main location now is just too small for the amount of things we want to do. When we have the opportunity to open this place and offer a unique take on events with beer and wine and seating for all the different things that we want to do.
Great. I'm familiar with you guys going all the way back to Crazy Igor.
Oh, yeah.
So it's great to see this business continue to thrive and grow, and just exciting to see what you're doing with it. So I think it's awesome. I don't really have a whole lot of questions or comments. I don't know if others do.
Well, I'll have to say that I'm also very familiar with you. I think, well, my kids spend half their lives over there, so they're very big into Dungeons and Dragons and the new One Piece card game.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons is going to be a big feature at the new space. So
What's that?
we're excited about that.
Yes, yes. I did just have a couple of questions because I know that, it is a multi-use space and I know that you guys are crowded out in the space that you currently have. So I think it makes sense for you to expand. But you are planning on serving alcohol. Is there any plan for any age limits or anything like that?
On the space itself?
Yes.
So we're going to do 18 plus without a parent or guardian.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the games that we're putting over there skew older for crowd anyhow. So a lot of the things like Pokemon, for example, are going to remain in our initial location. So we won't have anything over at that space that would include.
Typically draws.
Yeah, exactly. Like the D&D crowd skews older. A lot of the board game stuff skews a little bit older. So we're going to do the 18 plus without parent or guardian as far as an age limit on the space
Mm-hmm.
at the Waypoint.
Okay, and I'm assuming that you're going to be, have some sort of method in order to ID for those 21 and over for alcohol and that sort of thing?
Sure, yeah, we're gonna check IDs. We also have a wristband system for people entering the space.
Okay, great.
So you can either show your ID to get the wristband to allow you to show your ID later to get the
Yeah.
alcohol, or you can just excuse that and just not be served online.
Okay, fantastic. And so I'm just trying to picture the connection to the current space. Is it going to be connected to your current space in any way?
It's not connected. We couldn't talk the ski company into giving us some space. So Flum showed us this space, which used to be Real Estate Nexus, and it's not attached, but that gave us this opportunity to do, the beer and wine and kind of make it like a unique space. So I
Yeah.
think if it was attached, we wouldn't be doing this. So
Yeah, just a basic event space rather than, okay, so is it on the other side then of the ski company?
yeah, it's on our side of the ski company, almost on the very end. There's like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes,
The Smash. The
yes.
Smash place.
Yeah, the Smash Place and everything. And I think I had seen somewhere that it was going to be on a second floor. Is it
It is
second?
on the second.
It is on a second floor. Okay, and in terms of accessibility, any for our users, our game players that maybe have accessibility challenges.
Yeah,
what's-
there is an elevator that
Okay.
that Flum maintains.
Okay.
Right when you walk in.
Great, and plenty of space in between tables and all of that sort of.
Yeah,
thing,
that's what
so
we're
that-
excited about. People were even complaining about just how crowded it was at the space we have, and
It got crowded very quickly when
yeah,
you
so
moved from.
it was just too loud or too hot. So we're really going to be able to make it more comfortable, spreading out both this store and then our existing location, just so everybody has more room and there's less bodies.
Great. And my apologies, are you serving food there as well? I'm
We're
assuming?
serving a limited menu. Jim could tell you more about it, to meet like the requirements of,
Yeah, you have to have food if you're serving.
Yes, right, that's why.
we don't plan on doing anything elaborate. We did, install the things we would need if we wanted to, like a grease trap and the 3-bay sink and the different things in case we want to down the road, but,
Mhm.
So we're not doing entrees or fried foods or anything like that. So we're sticking to prepackaged sandwiches, salads, microwave pizzas, things that can function as small meals during events, but not anything that's like a sit-down service.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say they actually have vending machines now that can provide a hot meal.
Yeah.
I've
Yes.
seen those around.
Yeah, we were looking at it as a possibility for our golf course because we don't currently have a restaurant. And that's one of the things. So that way you're not considered food preparer because the machine does it. So
yeah, part of what we want to try to do is get like locally sourced, like DeBella's does prepackaged stuff.
yeah.
And then same thing with the beer. We're going to try to use just local breweries,
Great.
to kind of have everything like locally. That's what we're going to go for.
That'd be great.
Well, I know that for those that are in there gaming all day, they will definitely appreciate having some sort of sustenance.
You might be able to get Raising King chicken fingers.
Yeah. Right.
That's-
Any different change in hours of operation for this particular space?
Closing maybe a half hour earlier than the main store.
Okay.
Maybe the hope people will zip over and buy a couple things before that closes, but it'll be 9:30. Typically it's 10 a.m. to 9:30 at night, and we close at 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Yeah, do you have any?
No, I think I'm okay. Other than trying to visualize, so the first floor is like the retail, and then
Well, our retail store is
It's a little further down.
about
Further down?
One
okay.
portion of that plaza is 2-story.
Oh, okay.
And so they're in one of the suites.
Closer to the
Yeah.
Bryant and Stratton.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
That area
I'm
is
just trying to
taller.
visualize.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's what my question.
They don't have an exit out through, they can't go Disney and have the exit out from the
Through
thing,
the store.
through the
To the
store,
store.
the gift shop.
Knowing the people that go there,
They'll come.
knowing my people that go there, they will find ways to spend their money there.
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
My son was the same way.
So we can get a monorail.
That's right.
The place.
Places.
Yeah.
Or a slide. Have a top trail from the, so, all right.
I got one. Let me ask, I'm looking at the drawing here. The service counter, that's a service counter, it's not a bar, right?
Correct. There's no
Okay.
eating
There's, okay,
Purely for handing customers things.
okay, there is no bar, it's all.
Mhm.
There is no bar.
There is no.
Okay, thank you.
Anything
I'm good.
else?
I'm usually
All right.
more familiar with
I know.
this sort of stuff, with businesses. I'm not familiar with this one at all. It's,
Literally something.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, they do.
Any questions from the public? Anything online? All right, then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-003 Millennium Games Waypoint. Does someone wish to put forth a resolution?
We have a written right.
And we do not, because there's
Okay.
not really any.
I make a motion to approve special use permit number 2026-003 Millennium Games Waypoint, 1225 Jefferson Road, Suite A201 to sell food and alcohol.
Second.
Any further comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, who was the second on this?
Millie.
Millie, thank you. Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. Again, if you want to do any kind of ribbon cutting, just reach out. We'll work at the Chamber of Commerce there, and that's when I'm sure my son will attend.
I was gonna say, I'm sure I'll end up being there too, so.
Well, thank you all very much.
Yep,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you.
Next up, we have special use permit application number 2026-004. Raising Cane's Restaurant LLC, 823 Jefferson Road. I'll just note before we fully open this, I don't know if you want to talk to interview them or not. You can let them know if you want the Millennium Games folks to hang around for a little bit. Okay. Okay. Okay, sounds good. 823 Jefferson Road to construct and operate a restaurant with dine-in, takeout, and drive-through service and to allow outdoor seating. Please introduce yourself and your relationship to the project.
Good evening. I'm Karen Majanowski with Bowler Engineering, civil site engineer on the project. And I'm joined with Jerry Goldman, land use attorney, and Dan Wiesel, project manager, and here for operations on behalf of Raising Cane's. Thank you for the time. We're very excited to be here to present this special use permit as part of the project and part of our permitting journey with the town. The subject parcel is located at 823 Jefferson Road, part of Menotti Crossings, the overall parcel, and will be a 1 ± acre lease parcel right on the frontage of the overall parcel. If we want to, yep, that gives you a view of the overall site. And then if we want to flip 2 more pages, we'll get to
You hold on one second.
site plan.
I don't know, Becky, if what's going out, but we can't see the interpreter on the screen because there's a Dan, maybe, I don't know if you can click that okay message.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you. Now we can see the interpreter.
Excellent. Yeah, so if we could flip 2 more slides, I think we'll get to a proposed site plan that will help visualize this. Perfect, thank you. So Jefferson Road is at the top and we're along the frontage, building running parallel, as you can see. The proposed Raising Cane's restaurant would be about 3,031 square feet. It consists of patio seating as well as 2 drive-through lanes and a bypass lane around the drive-through pickup side of the building. Everything you can see here is shaded what is proposed for the project. We would have about 50 seats inside as well as 42 seats on the patio and 32 parking spaces immediately adjacent as shown on this plan. Again, it's going to remain as part of the overall parcel. So we've looked at the parking as a whole for the lot and what's going to be required to be allowed. And we do meet that, but just looking at this use itself, the 32 spaces would meet code as well. We do have the benefit of reciprocal agreements for parking and access here. So it's great. We're not just one secluded piece of land. We fit in nicely with the overall parcel. Our specific ask this evening for the special use permit would be for sit-down meals, takeout meals, outdoor seating, and drive-through operations. We heard mention of later hours earlier. We didn't see that in the application specific for restaurant, but it was on our letter that was submitted. They do serve lunch and dinner and are open later to serve guests beyond midnight. That is a high level. We've seen the draft resolution with the conditions, comments we've heard before. Obviously, after this step, we'll have to go through site plan review and zoning board review. But that's what we're looking for this evening. And with that, I'll turn it over to the board.
Sure. So one of the things I'll note that, after the discussion earlier with regards to the potential emergency access. So one of the things for the property next door, the Shake Shack, there was originally supposed to be a cross access easement out the top. They never fully executed that. But our concern is there's a single point of egress, and God forbid there's ever an accident there, and then there's an issue in the building, there'd be no way to get the emergency vehicles there. And we understand your concern with not wanting, customers to drive through and mess up the lane. So one of the things we were looking at was, that could be gated. This would be for emergency access only. It could be gated, or, one of the things we even talked about is the idea that it could be essentially like a sidewalk, but with mountable curbs at either end, so the emergency vehicle could drive over to get next door. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from your parcel, because I think you saw my image. That location that you have there marked in yellow would work, because it would go straight from the plaza, but it would provide another means of emergency egress. Again, I wouldn't want that to be a customer travel.
Right.
In regards to that, from a customer standpoint, because they're out on off of Clay Road as opposed to Jefferson, it's not difficult for them to go out and come into the plaza, or in the future, there's even a potential that they could connect to the plaza through the south. So that's not as critical. The criticality is, even with that connection out of the south, it's right at the same point of egress. And so that, like I said, from an emergency operation standpoint. So hopefully between you and the plaza operator, you'll be able to figure out some means to get that in there. So we do have that as a condition, but again, we specify that it's for emergency vehicles only. So whether it's gated with a Knox box or mountable curb or some other means to, that it's emergency only, we're good with that.
Understood. Yes.
And then, as you noted, you do have the reciprocal agreement. We just note this in the approval because, again, in some of the previous ones, if it's not noted in there, it doesn't always go down there. So we do talk about that there be sufficient overflow parking in Menotti crossing, with any necessary shared parking agreements be in place prior to C of O. So it sounds like you've already got those. And then same thing, we also talk about vehicle access from the plaza. I will say I do like that you increase the amount of green space up front. It obviously reduced some parking, but if you've got the available parking in the plaza, I think that's a better use, because that green space, that's one of the things we're trying to encourage to new projects along Jefferson, as well as existing projects that are redeveloping, is to add that green space, especially up front. It kind of takes away from that sea of asphalt look that Jefferson has had for far too long. So very much like that you guys increase the amount of green on your site.
Thank you.
Beyond that, I like that the entrance is to the queuing is where it's at, because, during that grand opening and honeymoon period, even if you get a long line, it's not likely to queue out to Jefferson Road and cause issues. When another restaurant came to Greece, they did not have sufficient queuing, and it caused all kinds of problems. So we've been very cognizant of that, and we make sure that especially restaurants that tend to have as high a opening demand as Raising Cane's, that there are sufficient queuing. So again, I like the layout. I like the number of cars that can stack in that queue. And I think it's a good plan. So
Thank you.
other comments?
How many cars can stack in that queue?
So we're showing about 20 before even making the turn, and then you can probably fit another 10 or so more just
Okay.
within the lease parcel itself, within the 2 lanes.
Within those 2 lanes and going out to that entrance point. And then even if there is spillover, it'll spill into the Hobby Lobby.
The overall plaza, yes.
Do those 2 lanes converge at all, or are they maintain 2 lanes all the way through?
So generally, the first lane will always be open. If it gets busier, they'll be operating the second lane. They'll use tablets to come out if that's needed in higher demand times. And so you could either pay at the window or to emerge to do that, or stay in your lane and then drive forward to pick up your food.
And so I'm looking at the design that I've got here, and I'm just not sure if they go all the way to the end, where do they pick up the food?
So there's actually it's a walkout door. It's a walkout door where they would bring the food to you.
They bring the food out.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So you could stay in your lane.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, for some reason, my site map is coming up with the parking on the north side of the, I don't know why I have that one.
They did send out an updated one.
That was the first version.
I'm getting what I today. It looked like from the first drawing that when you left the drive-through, you kind of had to merge down into one lane. Is that still the way it is?
So along I'll call it the north side, there's room to pull forward another space, and everyone would come to a stop before turning left and heading back down to exit. And now there's 11 spaces also on that side where we had parking along Jefferson before that we removed.
We found out what the original site plan's still in there. There's another one that's updated.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it just doesn't say Raising Cane's on it. It does have the number,
Right.
but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's some parking over there, but it does look, it's a double lane access, so it does look like it's sufficient to get out and about. It looks like a pretty good flow to me, and I like that you extended the bypass lane the whole way, because that'll help.
Yeah, I'm just concerned when both lanes are running, it's one lane exit, you're gonna be backing up in the drive-through, but that's it. I don't know how many other people have been to Raising Cane's, but I was sent there unbeknownst to me on a grand opening day down in Orlando on Palm Parkway. And I got there, my son and my teenage son at the time and his buddies sent me there, and it was not a pleasant experience. being
opening day.
Yeah, being opening day. And it was chaos. And I can say we revisited the site a year later, and I can say the parking lot wasn't much better. It was still chaotic. Matter of fact, my friend and I went to the restaurant across the street, across from Raising Cane's, parked there, and we had dinner, we had food from there because we didn't want to get towed away. And my son and his buddies went to Raising Cane's. So I can tell you that I'm very concerned about what I consider a lack of parking. If you have seating for 92 and you have, 30 spots plus however many employees.
That's 50 seats.
Inside and 42 patio.
42 outside. Gotcha.
So you do have the option for people to park in Hobby Lobby's parking lot, or
it's actually not Hobby Lobby. It's the parcel to the east.
The overall plaza.
Yeah.
The overall. Okay. Okay. So you have additional parking. Okay, that's my biggest concern.
Right, and that's where that condition came from. Yep.
It's addressed in a condition.
You got it.
I've never seen that lot that
Yeah.
plaza lot even half full, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, especially that half because there's not a tenant there as of
Right.
yet. But
So my question, maybe it's on some of the documents, but what are the hours of operation?
So we're proposing 10 a.m. and then some nights are 1:30 and some are 3:30. Friday and Saturday, we would
Okay.
request 3:30 a.m.
For the late,
a.m.
okay.
for the late hours.
Yeah, I imagine like Panera, I mean, they're closed at like 9 or something. And
Yeah.
so that would probably clear out.
yeah, so
For the
again,
night.
right. Although from a parking standpoint, you can see in that picture there, there's a huge parking field
Yeah.
immediately south of the restaurant that no so it doesn't matter whether Panera closes out or not. It's there is more than enough parking there.
Right, yeah.
As long as they have.
They do. That's so that yeah. So in terms of going back to the late night operations, again, this is a location that can easily support late night because there's nobody to inconvenience by being open late at night. So
During your grand opening, or as Steve refers to it, the honeymoon period, you're gonna have like sheriffs there like you did down in, I know at the grand opening I went to, they had hired sheriffs to.
That will be looked at. So there's a whole team that will address grand opening plans, any temporary traffic mitigation or directing of vehicles and people that's needed, will absolutely be looked at.
typically they only need to hire the sheriff if they need somebody on the state road. Otherwise, if it's just in the parking lot, they can use their own individual people.
Yep, and they've done it before.
Yeah.
So it's a good plan in place.
Yeah, we just, for one of the other restaurants, because they had an opening right near Jefferson Road, we had that opening closed off during the grand opening because we figured people would come piling in and it would back up.
Sure.
So they had to have an off-duty sheriff standing at that location to keep it clear. But like I said, you don't have an access directly close
To the
from
road.
Jefferson, so it's a moot point here.
So what do you think you think most of the traffic is gonna come off of Clay and then?
Well, it could come off of Jefferson, but my point is at that other location within
No.
50 feet, there's a turn into the restaurant. Here, I have to come all the way in
Right.
off of, so it depends. Eastbound is going to come in off of Jefferson, westbound is going to come in from Clay. That's what I suspect.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through the site plan just a little bit? I see a lot of green space. Where is the patio seating and what is the building that's on the far east?
The far east is the dumpster enclosure, so there's a
Gotcha.
concrete pad leading up to that, with sidewalks to access that.
Okay.
And then the building itself is the brownish tan color, and then if you look plan left, sort of in an L shape in front of the green space before the drive aisle, the patio area wraps around there. Yes.
Oh, and this is seating here? And the green spaces, those are just green space areas? Is that what?
We'll have a detailed landscape plan with shrubs and plantings during
Okay.
site plan review.
Right. Is there any plans for any event space or, performances, music, that type of thing?
There's nothing planned
Around
for
here.
performances or events.
I also will note, we did have requests from some of our individuals who use alternate means of transportation. They were glad, they really wanted that sidewalk off of Jefferson. So people who coming in via bicycle or walking, they wanted that access. So glad to see it's on there.
Yeah, and I do see on the plans that I'm looking at, it looks like the sidewalk is well marked up to the entrance of Raising Cane's. And I would just strongly encourage that sidewalk remain well marked, well striped, so that people who are leaving Raising Cane's from the drive-through area will be aware that there could potentially be pedestrians or something there.
Certainly.
Potentially even some sort of signage that says yield for pedestrians or something like that would be nice.
Right?
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I did just how many employees are you planning to employ?
It would be maximum of 12 per shift.
Okay, 12 per shift, great. And I think you mentioned the hours of operation. Any plan for alcohol or, I don't know, Raising Cane's, I'm sorry. I'm out of the loop. I'm not cool. But
No alcohol.
Not a question being cool, it's not be in an area where they exist. So this is your first foray into this region, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Great. Where are you based out of, or where was the origin of Raising?
Based out of Texas now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're excited to be the first one in the area. You could drive down to Pennsylvania, I guess, from here now. But yeah,
Yeah, my son's in the Boston area, so that's how he knows.
and they have them there. Yep.
So, building this, you're gonna use local labor or you're gonna bring in folks from out of town?
Still too early on, to determine that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, your other locations, do you usually use local labor or do you bring people in? Like, there's some places that have, hey, we have a company that comes in and does it all,
Sure.
does all our locations. So that's you would have an idea of your other locations.
Yeah, they've sourced local and we would try to do the same here.
So you're saying
Good to hear.
local labor,
Yeah.
labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
If
good.
they can.
Okay. Do you anticipate, how should we put this? Coming back at any time and increasing the footprint before you start this project?
So we put a lot of thought into this site plan and this layout and this scope and scale of the project. So we don't anticipate that. We obviously have to get through site plan review, but this has been well thought out and this is what we're gonna go forward with as we go to the zoning board and planning board. This is the first board to see it.
So,
This is the,
yeah, I just personally don't want to find out, hey, we thought, come back 2 months from now and say, well, we thought maybe we should increase the size because of the lack of other Raising Canes in the area, and we're going to increase it by 25%. Like,
That's not our intent.
okay,
Just curious, what's the zoning board issues related to signage?
The signs, I believe, will need variances. As far as the site plan itself, we need a front yard setback to the canopies and the dash lines that are there. So we lined up the building with our neighbors, and those overhangs would need the variance.
Okay, thank you.
have you, and just me being new, have you, with the green space, have you talked to the conservation board yet? And like, do you know what kind of,
They're after us.
they're after? Okay.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay, so we will see you there and listen, I'm their liaison. But I would, you have some experts on the board, so.
Yeah.
I will say, I like that you remove the parking spots from the other side of the drive-through.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, when I saw that, I thought that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
And like I said, I especially like that it's now more green space towards the road, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I know that the planning board does like to look at the frontage along Jefferson Road. So the green space is good. And personally, I think the designs and everything look good as well. But I know that's something that they do like to look at carefully is the frontage of the building facing the main drive.
Yeah, I will say that Raising Cane's has been good about that from the get-go because some of the places, the drive-through side of the building is utilitarian.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because the orientation in the plaza, that's what's facing out to Jefferson Road. And we've had to fight a number of national chains I swear, you were serious about that? One, we had to send back 3 or 4 times to say, you got to fancy this up. It can't be so utilitarian. So I like that yours is right off the get-go. All 4 sides look nice. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.
Good.
I'm good.
Mhm.
Anyone from the public who wishes to comment? Anybody online? You guys need to bring more social influencers. All right. Hearing, seeing no further comment, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-004, Raising Cane's Restaurant LLC.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I propose Special use permit application 2026-004, Raising Cane's Restaurant.
There is a.
There is a resolution for it.
Oh,
7119.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, then go ahead. I don't have it in front of me. Sorry.
You want me to?
Go ahead, you can put it forward.
Yep.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-119, 2026 to issue a negative declaration and approve special use permit application number 2026-004 for a new restaurant by Raising Cane's Restaurants LLC located at 823 Jefferson Road.
Second.
Yeah, so because of the larger size and the other stuff, there's also, it falls into the seeker. Where the other ones, like it's only interior, so they don't. All right, any further comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So as I've said to others, feel free to reach out when you're ready to do your ribbon cutting and grand opening. Granted, the word will be out there.
It is.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people camping out early.
Yeah.
So.
Looking forward to it. Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was still on the,
Yeah.
the special use permit part.
Right.
Yep.
That's why I didn't.
All right, we've got one more public hearing to go. Would you mind if we take a little break so I can do a quick interview for the news? Okay. So Becky will take no more than a 5-minute break. I also want to congratulate our normal, one of our usual interpreters, I guess I should say. Someone else can determine whether she's normal or not. But she did have a baby yesterday. Yep, Wesley Curtis Glenn. We do have a picture, but I'm not going to put it up without her permission. So, but very cute young baby Wesley. So he is going to have to go through life saying "as you wish." So
That is true.
all right. So again, we'll take about approximately a 5-minute break.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna bring down your stuff.
Yeah, I was still looking at.
Yeah, I know, I have lots of, yeah.
Okay, let's try that again. We're ready to, yeah, reboot, perfect. I was gonna wait till Becky removed that screen so people fast forwarding through the video can find it. All right, so last up, we have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to expand permissible uses on large parcels in R1 zoning districts by obtaining a special use permit. So I just want to make some clarification because there's been some misunderstanding as to what this is related to. So in the south of the Thruway and a little bit north of the Thruway is a rural residential district that was created years ago. It's more geared towards the portions of the town that still see a lot of farming operations. It has minimum lot size of 5 acres if you don't have sewer or water, or 2 acres if you do. But they're included in that when we did our farmland farmland protection plan, we included some additional potential uses to help preserve those farms because small farms struggle in Henrietta. And so those are already in the code for the rural residential, which again is mostly south of the Thruway as well as on Brooks Road. There are still a few surviving farms north of that, and that they are not in the rural residential district. And then there was some question of whether, because there were a couple of those farms were talking about the possibility of applying for one of those uses, and then they had asked, well, will we have to rezone? And rather than rezone and have a bunch of spot zoning for individual parcels, we thought what makes more sense is to do like we have along Jefferson Road, where the some of Jefferson Road is commercial, some of it's industrial. In the industrial zones, there is a permitted use, which is an other commercial use, not expressly forbidden, through obtaining a special use permit. So the thought was, rather than do rezones for those larger parcels in the R1 district, what we're proposing is that we add a permitted use to the R1 district. So that's R115 and R120. And the only difference between those two is the minimum lot size. R115 is a 15,000 square foot minimum lot size. R120 is a 20,000 square foot minimum lot size. So what we're saying is we're going to add a permitted use that says for any parcel of 5 acres or larger in the R1 zone, they could apply for a special use permit to do one of the uses for the farming that's allowed. It's just one of the other additional uses in the rural residential. One that's technically there, but from a condition standpoint, that from an effect on the neighborhood, the one use that's in the rural residential that's not in the R1, that I would hope a town board would not approve, is the senior housing. That's the only thing that's in the rural residential that's not in the R1 that is not the farm related. So, now if there was a location that did make sense for senior housing, then yeah, but the thing is, when you look at those locations, so our folks produced a map. I don't know if you have that map, Becky, but a map was sent to the town board because someone had asked, where are those locations where there are 5 acres or larger, and it's not significant. So you can see the pink ones are in the R115 and the green ones are in the R120. So it's not a lot of parcels. But those are the ones that are potentially above that. And I can't think of, the only one I could think of that could potentially make sense for senior housing is in the very northeast corner of the town. And we've been talking about rezoning that whole area to planned unit development instead. So that's really the only one that I could see where senior housing makes sense. But like I said, the idea is one of these working farms, if they want to do some, solar panels on a quarter of their acreage, or they want to do if it's an orchard and they want to have a cidery type of thing, they could apply through the farmland protection plan without having to go through a rezone. So that's the purpose of this law. So with that explained, I guess I will open it up to questions
Were we
or
weren't
comments.
gonna vote on it. I thought this was the one we said we weren't voting.
We're not voting on
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Just
We're
ignoring.
we're
I
gathering
wanted
input.
to know just
Yeah.
the way.
Anytime it affects zoning, we try to go a meeting without voting, just so we can gather any input and pull that back into the law. But
Just want to make sure
yeah,
that people are aware.
yeah, we're not voting tonight, but we're gathering feedback. Does anybody have any feedback, input? Come on up.
Kevin Yost, 1474 Middle Road. Good evening. Well, areas I'd like to see as perhaps working farms or if not just open space, but preferably open working farms, probably small, north of the thruway that this is being recommended. The strip between the thruway and Gopherlet Road and south of the Brown Cemetery. I know that there was a farm right there along Pinnock Road between those two rights of way, and an elderly lady had their farm in there until she passed away, and she had that for decades. That's one parcel, and I mentioned Brooks Road and of course which is corresponds with Gopherlet Road.
Yeah.
between East Henry and West Henry roads, and then I'd say perhaps Henry Portrait Stone Road, at least the north side of Bailey Road. If not, probably a lot of the south has been developed industrial. Unfortunately, mistakes happened before, but what's done, spilt milk, water over the dam. And then the ends of Lehigh Station Road beyond Pinnacle Road to the east and Western Road to the west, and then any undeveloped land along East River Road north of the thruway. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Cal.
Any other comment? Okay, then I'm going to close this session of the public hearing, but we will keep the public hearing open until the next meeting, at which time we will likely vote on the proposed local law.
I just wanted to double check that there's no one online.
That
Nope.
is correct. We have lost our online audience.
Okay, thank you.
Our farmers don't have online influencers apparently. So, again, I'm going to close this session of the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to expand permissible uses on large parcels in the R1 zoning districts by obtaining a special use permit. This will continue to the next meeting, at which point we will likely vote on the law. All right. Can I get my next resolution? Oh, it's me. Look at that.
Oh, I saw an S and I was gonna go for it.
That's fair. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-120, 2026 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second,
A lot of them are coming in for the spring and summer activities at the recreation center as well as the libraries. So any comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-121, 2026 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for March 5th, 2026 through today, March 18th, 2026.
Second.
So included in this check run is $175,000 for the steel for the band shell. If you haven't seen it, it's I'm getting very excited. It's looking great. $130,000 for salt for the roadways. $63,000 to RG&E. Like everybody else, our heating bills have gone up, and $54,000 for the final payout to the general contractor for the town court. So that's included in the numbers for this resolution.
Hopefully we won't need any more salt on the roads, yes, until next winter.
Yeah. I doubt it,
Hmm.
but hopefully it'll be lighter like the most recent salt run. So any further comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-122, 2026 to authorize an extension of special use permit number 2024-029 for BW Solar Holdings Incorporated to construct and operate a large-scale solar system.
Second.
So I think one of the things we may want to consider, Dan, I don't know if we can do this, when we issue the special use permits for them, can we specify that they're for a longer duration? Because nobody is able to get all of the permitting for solar projects done in the normal allotment of time.
I'll look at what
Because I've just noticed, especially between the government regulations as well as then getting through the utility companies for that connection and trying to talk them out of the exorbitant fees they charge. I can't think of one of these that it's finished in time, so. Yeah, just for solar, yeah. Right, any questions, comments? Hearing and saying none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-123, 2026 to authorize an extension for special use permit numbers 2023-024-/045 for Southwest Senior Housing Project located on West Henrietta Road.
Second. So the West Sunset project is the original developer got all the approvals, but then sold the project to another developer. I haven't noticed if the deed has gone through yet, but that's part of what the delay is.
I was going to ask if it had been sold already. Just because I moved this forward doesn't mean I'll be in favor of it. I voted against it twice before, so.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, I did see that, it was sold. They had an sale agreement. I just don't know if that sale has been finalized and filed at the county clerk's office.
So when this type of thing sells, the new owner is still, if they're going to construct the same type of housing project, they still need to utilize the same conditions.
Correct.
That
Yeah,
were
so
imposed by the special use permit.
Yep, it's all the same. The special use permit is actually attached to the property, not to the owner. So the new owner is obligated to the same conditions or requirements from the original approval.
So if the new property owner chooses to significantly change the project, let's say just put in regular apartments and not the senior housing project.
Well, first they can't because it's not allowed there. But yes, if there was even just a significant change, like adding or subtracting units, there was, as part of this, they were approved for some additional units through incentive zoning because they were going to wire an entire building for the deaf and hard of hearing. So if they're not willing to do that, again, it would come back and they'd either have to modify their special use permit or they would not get a building permit.
I will say that I have not been a fan of the location of this particular project. I think it is, generally speaking, better to have these types of projects located in a place where there's a little bit more density and not encouraging the sprawl within within Henrietta out into some of our rural areas. But yeah, those are just my concerns for this project.
Understood. I will just also note that there is a huge demand for senior housing.
There is. I do understand that there is a huge demand for senior housing of all levels and of all types, particularly as I think of it as the boomer bubble, as they are moving through the senior system. There is definitely a big demand for individuals out there.
Any further comments, questions?
I just want some clarification. Why do they just need the extension? Because they're trying to get there.
Because, so basically, typically you have to put a shovel in the ground to lock the special use permit in. Because of the sale, that added additional time delay before they've actually gone and gotten the building permit. So that's why they need the additional time.
And then, Mike, you had concerns.
Yeah, at the time, I voted no because I was located, it was located in between three homes, one in back, one on both sides, and I didn't think it met the character of the area.
It's a rural area and it's a dense apartment complex that's going in.
That was my concern at the time.
It's not, just to be clear, it's not actually dense compared to our other density.
Compared to some other ones,
It's
but
less
compared
than
to
6
neighborhood.
units. So
Oh, it's only 6 units. Okay.
6 units, no, not 6 units, 6 units per acre, sorry.
Per acre. Okay.
Yeah. If I remember correctly.
I mean,
It might have even been closer to 5. I think it was closer to 6 when you added the deaf because of the
Right.
units for the deaf and hard of hearing. So whereas like the units up in the northern part of town, they're more like 8, 10, 12. In R2, it can even, I think, go up to as much as 16 units per acre. So I won't call it low density, but I wouldn't call it high density either. Any other questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
No.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-124, 2026 to authorize repairs of the Dome Arena access road due to public use of the facility.
Second.
So I will note that this would not kick in until and unless we complete the agreement that community benefits agreement that we had previously approved until it's fully executed. The owner of the dome had to have surgery, so we have not executed that. He is back on his feet. I saw him yesterday and he is interested in moving forward and finishing that up. So, but our highway crews expressed some concerns about some of the potholes near where they'd be driving in and out, didn't want to see damage to the town vehicles. And so asked if they could fill them, and I checked with our attorney, and as long as it's serving a public use. The other thing I'll note that I will ask, and I'm sure he will agree to it, that the property owner cover any out-of-pocket expenses for the asphalt patching, because he does obviously get some benefit from it. But the portion that we're using, the areas that they're talking about is the north entrance, which is where they'd be coming in, as well as then the exit out onto East Henrietta Road. The potholes there have gotten sizable.
And I just want to make sure that, everybody understands, this is just the area where they're going to be driving. It's not the whole.
Correct. We're not,
the
no,
whole
we're
lot,
not,
because
we're not
a lot of
passing
people thinking we're
no,
paving the whole lot.
we're not, yeah, we're not doing the parking lot. It's just the areas where, if it's I don't recall there being any potholes where our vehicles might park. But my point is, if we were doing any parking, it would only be where our vehicles are parking. But I don't recall there being any potholes there. It's just the access roads. Any other questions? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 7-125, 2026, to authorize the supervisor to sign a community benefits agreement with Indus Hospitality for 1170 Jefferson Road.
Second.
I'm just checking. Okay, he hasn't been able to verify. So I went with the unverified number in the resolution, and I'll just note that if it's less than that, we'll have to reapprove. Indus Hospitality, they're applying for an MRT exemption. It's not a pilot. I've made clear we don't support a pilot for hotels. With regards to an MRT exemption is mortgage and essentially sales tax during construction on construction materials. That's through Comida. This does have some effect on us. And when I mentioned that to him, he was saying, "Oh, he'd be." We were actually also talking about the Performing Arts Center and the Dome Arena Community Center, and he said he'd be interested in making a donation towards that. They were interested in naming rights, that their name would appear on some portion, something appropriate based on the size of the gift. Obviously, if they're giving the $40,000 that they're talking about, that wouldn't name the dome, for instance. So basically, what this would do is, again, it would through the community benefits agreement, it would be a donation to the town for either the reason originally we were talking about the Dome Arena. The reason I also included the Betty Miller Performing Arts Center, which is the former Good Shepherd, is in the event that we don't get the dome, I don't want the $40,000 to go to waste. The reason I didn't just specify the Betty Miller Performing Arts Center is we've already done most of the improvements to that, so I'm not certain we need the additional, but I'd rather have it and spend it there than not be able to use it. Yep. So that's why I named them both.
So are you saying the mortgage tax, it looks like it's about 40 grand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other, just so you know, in the MRT, they don't waive the entire tax. They waive 3/4 of it, so we would still get some mortgage tax as well. I'm not, so you'd have to talk to Comida to get all the details about that, but I just know when we've talked to them about this before, the sales tax doesn't really directly affect us. Most of the sales tax revenue goes to the county, and then of the portion that gets shared out to the municipalities, the lion's share of that goes to the city, it goes to the school districts, it goes to by the time you get down to us, it's such a tiny fraction of the overall sales. It's a significant chunk of change, but my point, any one project is a tiny, tiny percentage of our revenue. Whereas the mortgage tax, that comes directly to us. So that does have a bigger effect on us. So I've always said the sales tax, that's up to Comida, since it's mostly going to the county. The mortgage tax, I've asked Comida and they've agreed that they check with us before they grant it. So, any other questions, comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-126/2026 to accept the dedication of sanitary sewer extensions for the Queens Park subdivision, section 3.
Second.
So section 3 is along Martin Road, more or less north of the Wat Palau Buddhist temple. It's about 4 houses. It does also include a connection and an easement over to the Mary Carriola house nearby. It is not making that connection as of right now because their septic system is working. But that way, if their septic system ever fails, they'll actually also be able to connect into that. So we appreciate the developer getting that all set in the event that that's ever needed. So any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-127/2026 to accept the dedication of off-site sanitary sewers for the 4799 West Henrietta Road Commercial Subdivision, excuse me.
Second. So this is the subdivision that includes the new Burger King and the new Chipotle on West Henrietta Road. There's an area behind that's a future phase. I think that one is more geared towards like office space as opposed to restaurants, but this includes an extension to that area. Any portion of a sewer that serves more than one property or owner under New York state law has to be owned by a municipality. So they paid to put it in, they paid to put all the stuff in, but they then dedicate it to us and we maintain it from there on out. But it obviously has to meet all of our requirements and gets thoroughly checked before we take it. And then we require them to put a maintenance bond on it just in case something goes wrong. So any other questions, comments? Hearing seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-128/2026 to authorize an increase in the professional service fees to partnership architects PC due to changes in scope of services for reducing the overall construction costs for the Henrietta Municipal Dog Shelter.
Second.
So we redesigned the building and a means to save money because as you'll recall, the high cost of construction these days put the puppy palace, as is often referred to internally, over budget. But we've basically been working with the architects and with the MEP designers to ways, as well as the contractors, on ways to save money and while still have the functionality that the 4 towns are sharing. So again, this project is housed here. It's directly across the parking lot from Town Hall. But there are 4 towns participating. So it's Henrietta, Brighton, Wheatland, and Rush. And the breakdown of those costs, so that once all the final costs are in, we've gotten multiple grants to help pay for this. Excuse me. Once all the costs are in, those costs will be split amongst the 4 municipalities. So based on population, it's about 50% to Henrietta, 35% to Brighton, 9% to Wheatland, 6% to Rush, ballpark. We did apply for yet another grant. There's a local government efficiency grant, which basically goes out for those municipalities, it has to be 2 or more municipalities that are working together to reduce costs. So obviously, building one larger shelter is cheaper than building 4 individual shelters, especially since every one of those individual shelters would have to have, at a minimum, a quarantine kennel and a nursing kennel and a regular kennel. And, you know, the smaller towns, they have like maybe 2 dogs, 4 dogs a year. It makes no sense for them to build a kennel that size for the number of dogs they bring in. So the 4 towns got together and we're going in on this project. So, you know, again, just with construction costs being where they are these days, we've had to do a lot of shuffling to get the cost down. And that meant more work for our architects and more work for our MEP designers. So, but the savings are greater than the additional costs in those designs, significantly greater. So, any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-129, 2026 to authorize Passero Associates PC to provide professional land surveying and mapping services for the Fair Avenue extension.
A second.
So this is as part of the pro housing grant, the $3.2 million pro housing grant that we received. We went out and got quotes. Passero was by far the lowest. And they do a very good job. So we are going to be hiring them to do the surveying work necessary to lay out the future road, the future sewer, map the terrain, and get everything ready so that we can start work on the project. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-130/2026 to declare intent to be a lead agency for seeker review of a proposed sidewalk extension along Clay Road in a commercial B2 zoned district.
Second.
So you may recall we received grant funding from Senator Jeremy Cooney to put a crosswalk on Clay Road, as there are some residents in the apartment complex nearby who are legally blind, but who wish to walk to Walmart. And then as we've been working on that, we've seen a lot of people walking on the stretch to go to the bus loop at the end of the street. And so this area was qualified for a community development block grant. And so we applied to put in a sidewalk along there so that we can collect people who wish to go to the bus stop at the end of the road and not make them walk on the shoulder. So, and then we'll also tie into our new crosswalk as well. Any other questions, comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-131, 2026 to call for a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the provisions of the tax exemptions for volunteer firefighters and ambulance personnel.
Second. So new bills changed some of the exemptions with regards to volunteers, including that their allowances for surviving spouses and some other stuff. So we're just updating our local code to match the newly updated state laws. Any other questions or comments?
When we do that, I'm all for this, but we don't have much of a choice. Is it just updating it or do we have a choice?
I don't know what, sometimes there's parts you can opt in or out, but again, these changes make sense, which is why they were modified at the state, so we're doing that here. We opted in originally, to do this, so at that point, we had a choice. I don't know, could we leave it as is? I don't know that answer.
I was just curious more than
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
Right, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I suspect that with this particular change, that you probably would have had to do it with the possible exception of the 2-year change from 5-year, but the
eligibility stuff. Yeah.
Unremarried spouse of deceased volunteer, and they changed it to the surviving spouse, and I suspect that has to do with the equal rights law that was recently passed by the legislature, where you can't make that distinction whether or not the person's remarried.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not sure of that, but
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-132, 2026 to authorize a tax certiorari settlement with Inspire Brands for 2911 West Henrietta Road.
Second.
So our assessor was able to reach an agreement. So we just have to approve it. Any questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-133, 2026 to authorize the purchase of one new 2026 International 10-wheel dump truck for the Highway Department.
A second.
Doesn't mention it on here, but I believe this one is through CHIPS. So this one does not have the, what do you call it? The permissive referendum that it would if we were purchasing it through the capital fund. Any questions, comments?
No.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-134, 2026 to authorize the purchase of one new 2026 Chevrolet Silverado for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Department.
Second.
So this one is coming through the fund, so it does require a permissive referendum. Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-135, 2026 to authorize the purchase of one new Kubota RTV for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Department.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-136, 2026 to authorize the purchase of a landscape trailer and a utility trailer for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Department.
Second.
I will just note in the previous one, as was discussed at the workshop, I guess it was two back, the Silverado for buildings and grounds, that will have a plow and salter and plow our parking lots. So we use that size vehicle. We have a couple different sizes depending on the size of the lot, but that's one for our standard parking lots like at Tinker and other locations away from the big lots here. So, and then these trailers, just replacing ones that have started to degrade. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
I'm sorry. We're on, fine. Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-137, 2026 to appoint Heather Voss as Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics.
Second.
So this just allows one of our deputy clerks to sign marriage certificates should our town clerk not be present. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-138, 2026 to declare an item surplus material from the town clerk's office.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-139, 2026 to acknowledge receipt of the February 2026 revenue and expense report.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-140, 2026 to authorize the supervisor to accept the quotes from Mengel, Metzger, Barr and Company LLP for the 2025 town audits.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 7-141, 2026 to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Town Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-142 2026 to extend the payment in lieu of taxes agreement between 5257 West Henrietta Road LLC and the town of Henrietta for the RIT Inn and Conference Center.
Second.
So the conference center, a portion of it is dormitory, which falls under the RIT's educational use and therefore would be tax exempt. But a portion of it is an inn and conference center, which is not tax exempt. There's no easy way to subdivide those parcels and have one that's tax exempt and one that's includes taxes. So we do it through a pilot. We just keep the whole parcel taxable, but with a pilot, so we reduce the taxes based off of the, again, a good portion of it is non-taxable.
So let me ask, is it close to what we would get if the one portion was taxable?
Yeah, it's hard to really calculate that because you have to now separate the values. It would not be an easy task for the assessor, but yes, it's in that ballpark.
Okay. I want to make sure it wasn't $1 or something.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have a resolution 7-143, 2026 to ratify the emergency vehicle repairs for the flush truck needed by the sewer department.
Second, so the one of the pumps failed on the flush truck just outside of warranty, of course. Our garage is reaching out to them to try to see if they'll at least do partial, because it shouldn't have failed. But we had to have that repaired and get back online. So it's already been repaired. It's already back online, but per our standard, we have to ratify those emergency expenditures because it was over $10,000. In terms of where we did it, it's at Joe Johnson Equipment. They're actually a sole source provider of Vector equipment. Vector is one of those companies that the truck portion is separate. That is not sole source, but the Vector equipment itself is sole source.
Yeah, and is the repair agency actually in North Carolina, or do they have a local branch?
I don't know that answer. We certainly did not send the truck down to North Carolina. So
That's good.
Yeah. But so I assume they have a local
Or
office.
send somebody up to do the repairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Supervisor, this is Linda Saltini, Director of Finance. That's their remit to and bill to address that's on all of their orders. They are a
Gotcha.
local organization.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have the final resolution 7-144, 2026 to issue a notice to perform work to the owner of 792 Calkins Road, Doyle Security Systems, for repair of their access road.
Second.
So this was a late addition, but we had a number of people complain about the road. I drove through. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get there before dark, so I couldn't get good pictures. But if you look, there is a traffic cone sitting in a pothole. It's about halfway buried. The pothole's filled with water. Like I said, halfway up that cone. It is very dangerous. And so what happens, everybody swerves around into the oncoming traffic lane. Now, thankfully, it's not a heavily trafficked access road, but it is not safe. So
There's several businesses that are back there, aren't there?
yeah, so the issue is, this is one of the problems with this access road. So the first portion of the road is owned by the K9 Center, right?
Yeah.
So they maintain their portion. The next portion is owned by Doyle. That's the portion that needs work. The last portion is maintained by the Plaza. They actually repaired their portion not too long ago. So there's 3 portions of this access road, and I double checked, and it is Doyle that is the portion that is in really bad shape. So
If I recall, the K9 portion was repaired a few years back too.
correct. Yeah. So and these that section was a little bit rough, but these have really opened up in the last few weeks, last month or two. So I rushed it onto the agenda because otherwise we'd have to wait 3 weeks. So I will be reaching out to them to work on getting it done faster. So again, it needs to be done quickly. And if not, then at the next meeting, we would hold a public hearing in order to be filled.
With that being said, there's a local restaurant that I was there in the fall and the parking lot was a mess. And I can say it's much worse this year. I think we should look into that one too. I'll
Okay.
give you the name.
Yeah, no, that'd be,
You were there recently yourself.
okay. I apparently was not.
It's, you wouldn't know, okay.
Yeah, so, all right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor, I'd just like to mention back up to one thing. I apologize. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. The authorizer personnel, 141. I just want to make sure it's corrected or it's a typo. There was one person on there who was actually, the pay was going down by $2 an hour. I was wondering if that was correct. I got it here if you want.
Yes, that is correct. During a different,
Okay.
oh, sorry,
Thank
this
you.
is Linda Salpini. During a certain time of the year, she manages a group of people. The other time of the year, she's just a worker. Not just a worker, sorry, she's a worker.
Okay. Thank you.
So two different roles.
Two different roles, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
Yes. So a couple of things. The Youth Board is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Youth Hall of Fame coming up on April 19th. Of course, everyone here on the board is invited. I'll say this was the first time that I was able to attend a youth board meeting. And I was just so impressed by the young people that are serving on that board. They're so motivated. There's several seniors that are on the board this year that have been on the board for the past 3 or 4 years. So essentially their whole high school career. And, just the things that these young people are doing is just really very, very impressive. The library board just wants to, the library just wants to highlight that the school district art show has been happening, is happening now. I know I've gone over most years to try to catch what's going on. The 4th through 6th grade art show is up right now. But the high school, the secondary art show is going to open on April 8th. So really, we have some incredibly talented young people in our community, and it is well worth it to take a stroll through and see what they've got. And from the Parks and Rec, this weekend, or I'm sorry, not this weekend, on March 28th, Saturday, March 28th, we have 2 free Easter events for the younger kids. We have an earlier Easter egg hunt from 12 to 2 with the egg hunt starting at 1 o'clock and various activities going on during that time. And then later on that day at night from 6 to 9 p.m., there is going to be a teen flashlight egg hunt. So they're going to have a DJ, they're going to have pizza, ping pong, and I think I saw roller skating somewhere. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw roller skating. There is also still some openings in the community garden. Usually that fills up pretty fast. So if you are interested in gardening up at Tinker Park in the community garden, you might want to jump in on that. There is also going to be a session by a Cornell Master Gardener on Saturday from 10 to 11 at Tinker Park. And registration is open for the 9th annual RH Kicking Hunger 5K on Saturday, June 6th. So it feels like RH Kicking Hunger has been going on for a long time. I'm surprised it was only the 9th annual one.
I think the 5K they've been doing other stuff prior to that. I think
Yeah.
it's the 5K, that's 9 years.
Right. Yes, I think so. And finally, I'd like to highlight that I've been working with a bike advocacy group. This is something that's been near and dear to my heart ever since in 2020 we lost a young student, Liam, while he was riding his bike home from Martin Road Park. The bike advocacy group has been advocating for bike boulevards and has been working with the town. And the town has put up some new bike boulevard signs. A bike boulevard is a marked path through a quiet neighborhood streets to help bicyclists avoid some of the heavy main roads in order to get to their destination. So using these bike boulevards, some neighbors in Henrietta will be able to get to the library, to the rec center, and certain schools within our community. We are going to have an initial ride on April 11th at 1 o'clock, and we're all going to meet here at Town Hall. So I plan to be there and take a ride on the new bike boulevard. So hope we can see as many people out as possible.
Thanks for the update. I'm looking forward to the Youth Hall of Fame dinner, and I was able to connect with Anita also, but I also was looking at the list of the board members, and I recognize some of those board members. There's some that are members of our Rotary Interact Club at the school, and my other roles of being on Rotary. I'm reviewing some scholarship applications, and they're phenomenal. Their resumes, I mean, the amount of volunteer work they do is really great for the community. My updates, I was with the Conservation Board, and we had a little bit longer meeting. We heard from two different, I think, Seven Brew Coffee and Lakeview Housing. It was interesting. As I said before, I'm so impressed with it on Conservation Board. They're highly knowledgeable about a lot of issues. They were also pleased that we had approved the land use, I don't know what the actual wording is, land use thing last board meeting. They would have loved to attend. I think maybe they didn't know about it right away, but they would love to attend in the future. Also I didn't go to the school board because they do conflict on sometimes, but we are invited to a district, like a dinner next week to review the budget with them, and they're inviting other board members from the other towns that are impacted by the school district. I think that's all I have for now.
Attended the fire district meeting, commissioners meeting, and really the only thing from there was they're sending out some RFPs for some upgrades to the Bailey Road Station and the West Brighton Station. So for architectural RFPs.
All right. Do we have any discussion items or comments from the public?
Kevin Yost, again, 1474 Middle Road. Good evening again. I know it's a kind of decision to have photographs of old buildings of the West Henrietta Hamlet in the lodge in the currently being developed Cat McMorris Park, the former Three Sisters ice cream stand, and idea for having photographs of historic buildings, some of which may have been lost to fire in or otherwise in the East Hamlet for the Baldwin cabin in either the Baldwin cabin in Lookout Park or the Bay Meadow Performing Center of the former Good Shepherd Church shot down. I'd like to suggest maybe instead there's something piece out here where was the Blackwell woman the year that presumably outgrew it, as we know it would eventually that be for for historic buildings and photographs in West Ham and elsewhere in the west side of town, west of Middle Road, Highland Drive, Summer Sky Drive, and Clay Road, and then the bar or the cabinet out here was the first women's first be for the current former buildings up the east side of town, east of those rights of way I just mentioned, and that the women's first perhaps either the out in between in the middle cabinet between the two plaques for the dedication were placed in 1985 for this empty glass cabinet here, and I feel that there needs to be more add to it. I'll email all 5 board members in the town of Saranac on board with details. And I'd also further like to suggest that the state of New York proclamation, whatever, framed black be in the middle of the south side here, and that there also be restored a town flag over there. I'm not sure which side, according to Flag Act, it's supposed to be a state flag or a municipal flag. Either be like the former flag that was there, the former town flag is on a mural, or perhaps updated colors, like the H could be dark blue, the modern color, and then the stripes on the left, and the town fender would be light blue. I don't know. I would even contribute money toward that. I'm told by a town official that's a work in progress to build a replica of the former chicken sheds at Tinker on the same site. I don't know if that's true or not. And like I said, I feel that there needs to be 2 more holes at Lookup Park in addition to the 1 hole remaining by the potholes by the worker golf holes by the remaining 1 and the driving range, and that Lookup Park and Mark Park need to be four-sided fitness stations by Play World Systems of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and restore the fitness trail station along the Lehigh Trail to the west end of Veterans Park, and then the trail in Breeze Park. And finally, perhaps, I know in the past, Rotary had a hole-in-one contest in the spring in the back of Veterans Park. Perhaps they could do it at the hole and do it there again, or do it or in the hole at Lookup Park, or any 1 or 2 additional holes. Hopefully 2 additional holes be built there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll just note that I'm not positive. I believe that the ABB display is coming back because as they grew, they had to move it, and when they moved it, the area behind it was so sun faded that they've replaced the backing of that. So that's what they've been doing. I do believe that the stuff will be coming back when that work is done.
Okay, well, and perhaps there could be another case facing the bathroom for what's in the far case on whatever's in there, and then that in that case it has some things on the left side, the east side be from the west side of town, current former buildings, and that in the I forgot to mention that in the former Three Sisters ice cream stand, the Kevin Park Lodge, perhaps it'd be a painted replica of the mural of the current former east side buildings that were of that was in the old FDR's restaurant that the town attorney took a picture of, and then also be including murals of a current former buildings in East Side Town and other, as well as West Side Town and as well as the oval of, the portrait of, Count of Senator Pulteney, that was in that mural and also an oval, portrait of, Reverend Elizabeth Antoinette Brown Blackwell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, public feedback? And hearing and seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second. Meeting adjourned.